Welcome back, everybody. John Aravosis here from Washington, D.C. for today's Ukraine update. Hope everybody's doing well. I've got my good mic again. I forgot I had my mic turned off the other day, so apparently nobody was the wiser, so that's good. How is everybody today? It's Saturday here in D.C., which is lovely out, like 70 degrees, which I am finally loving. Let me get started on TikTok here. Ooh. And everybody introduce yourselves. I know you're used to it, but there must be some new people out there. Say where you're all from, if you would. And TikTok. Slick, you're first. You beat Mandabear and all the rest. Wow. Oh, and yes, Luck, you're first. Oh, God, now we're doing first here? I thought that thing's spreading. Actually, that was something, the first thing is something we used to do back on the blogs in the mid-2000s, like all the way back to 2004. People would come and try to put the first comment, and I don't know whether it was like when it actually started, but it at least goes back to 2004, and because somebody had done a typo once, I think, and wrote Frist instead, who was the Republican leader in the Senate at the time, Bill Frist. People would then write Frist instead of first. It was like a whole bizarre culture in like the mid 2000s on the US political blogs on the left. So it was very funny. Anyway, hello all. Yes, every Saturday and Sunday we do the show, or I do the show, or Sasha and I do the show at 2 p.m. Eastern to make it a little easier for the European folks and others to join us. I think it screws the Australians over no matter when we do it. I think, not sure exactly. Anyway, welcome all. As you know, we usually go a couple minutes, maybe 3 or 4 minutes. We wait to see what, we wait about 3 or 4 minutes for folks to kind of filter in, and then we get started. Good evening, John Sarge from Wales. How are you? And I decided today, in my ongoing quest to not have my asthma bother me, I am making hot tea out of mint from my garden, and the mint comes from my mom's garden, which actually comes from my grandmother, her mother's garden. So this stuff goes back probably, we don't even know, probably to the 1950s, maybe 1940s, because it must have been my grandfather who had cultivated it, because he was the big gardener in the family, immigrated from Greece. And I haven't made mint tea in a while, and I do love mint tea. Bonjour, Audriane. Hello, Ireland. So yeah, we take a couple minutes and just folks introduce yourselves. You're late, but you're early. Oh, Mandabear, you are late, actually. For you, you're late. Yes. Slick beat you by far. Mint and tea. Yes. Does this come as a surprise to you all from the continent of tea, or from the island of tea? Fresh mint in actually fresh mint in water, but you could also do fresh mint in black tea. And to do it, but I just decided to put fresh mint in my hot water itself. One moment, please. We're testing this. We're going to start in a minute, folks. We usually go a couple minutes just to let folks filter in. That's pretty good. It could be stronger. It probably needs, I put a lot of mint in here. It probably needs even more mint. I'm going to let it steep another minute or two. Ave, you can't stay? Just adding up, and hello, Catherine with the TikTok mail gun or money gun. Thank you. You can't stay today. Okay, thank you, Harvey. That's okay if you can't stay. I don't know if it's good for asthma. It's tea, so it can't be bad. Thank you, Baby Shoe, for those. Can't be bad. I figure mint strikes me as calming. Thank you, Smiling, for that. Mint strikes me as something calming. No, I think of it that way. Yeah, no, I was almost thinking I probably needed to crunch it a little bit first, probably. And even now, today we're always talking about Ukraine. So today I'm talking about Ukraine, but we're waiting another minute or two. We go till usually I wait until about 5 after the hour to start, because it gives folks enough of a chance to sort of come in from the various networks. So another minute, and we're good. Rosemary, oh, that's interesting. But at the moment, I'm talking about the tea that I'm making while we wait one more minute to start the show. Yes, welcome to the Sasha News Network. Thank you, Smiling, for those. Let me see here. Yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad. Oh, thank you for that, Smiling, too. Hello, Pete from London. How are you? User 697 burp, 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 burp. Hello, Sweden, South Wales. We got everybody here today. Sasha's doing okay. I mean, not showing symptoms. She just, Sasha had sort of an intestinal thing earlier in the week. And I know my dog, it takes a good couple of weeks for it to totally kind of. Oh, mirror image. And hello, Lithuania. Nice to see you here. And Croatia. Hang on, I'm going to mirror my image here. Mirror. There we go. And yeah, I'm doing okay. I'm testing some different things with my asthma, so hopefully it isn't going to be bothering me today. We're going to find out. But all right, guys, I'm ready to get rolling here. Another sip of my tea, and we're ready to roll. Yeah, not bad. So, I am John Arvosis. We are here to talk about Ukraine. I've been doing a daily update almost since the war started, probably the second week of the war. And the way it works is I go on for about 20 minutes. Today might even be shorter. We'll see. There isn't that much news today. But I go on for about 20 minutes, tell you the latest news, what I think matters in the news. And then we do a Q&A for the rest of the time. Often we go till quarter after the next hour. Let's just see how long it goes. If the news is short today, then we don't need to go as long. But the way we'll do it is on TikTok, if you guys can submit your questions via my profile. If you go to my TikTok profile, you'll see a Q&A link. So use that to submit them there. That makes it easier for me. I also can see the questions scrolling, but if they scroll by, they can scroll by too far and then I can't get to them. So better to actually put them in the Q&A box. On Streamlabs. Streamlabs is just weighing in with names of cities. Okay, Streamlabs bot Paris, it says. If on here, you guys all know, just to reiterate, I've got TikTok over here, which is why I keep going back and forth. And over here is YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitch, and Twitter. All of you combined. So Twitter can't weigh in, but the rest of you can weigh in via the comments. If you've got super chat questions, I always say if you do a super chat question, which are the dollar box on the bottom of the screen, that is a question you pay for, but basically you pay for it as a donation to my work. If you do those, I always promise to get to those questions, and I will even get to it as the next thing I'm talking about. So even if I'm talking about another topic, as soon as I finish, I will do your question, because it's impossible to get to all the questions. There's too many. So that's an added thanks for you buying the super chat questions. And finally, the gifts on TikTok. You rock. I totally welcome the gifts. Like the goofy thing on my head you just put, Vaughn. And I will always try to do a shout out for the gifts as well. Thank you, Louie. So let's get rolling, guys. All right, another sip of my tea. Like I said, we're going to see if I need my inhaler today. I'm hoping I don't, but we'll see. Ashley, thank you for that. All right, take my thing out. So, a lot of updates today, nothing earth-shattering. The Institute for the Study of War, which I really like, thank you, Smiling, for the pride glasses. They're a think tank here in Washington, D.C., and they're followed by a lot of the defense experts. So they're quite credible. They were talking about today, or actually yesterday's update that happened last night. They were saying something that I've been telling you guys a lot, and I just wanted to reiterate it because it's something to keep in mind in terms of the battle that Russia's having in the east. You know, the big battle that's been happening in eastern Ukraine is in the town of Severodonetsk, all the way over here. I've been telling you for a while now that the Russians have been committing way too much to winning this battle. That sure, the battle matters strategically. It would help the Russians to control this town, but not in comparison to the amount of manpower and the amount of weapons they're throwing in. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous how much the Russians are throwing at this battle. Now, Institute for the Study of War also chimed in, and they warned that the Russians have concentrated the vast majority of available combat power. Now, oh, we always have trolls already. Please, are you kidding? The first half of the show is when somebody was just saying on TikTok, we have trolls already. I'm like, you must be new here. Yes, we always have trolls. Hopefully the mods are able to help you out. If not, let me know and we can move some mods over from YouTube if it's a problem. So the majority of the available combat power, and that's an important term because available combat power means basically they're saying troops that are ready to fight, okay? Not just cannon fodder, not just troops who, aren't ready to fight and we're just throwing them there anyway. But in terms of Russian military forces that are combat ready and ready to fight, there aren't that many left. And they've thrown them all at this small town. This is a town of 100,000 people in eastern Ukraine, and it's nuts. So what Institute for Study of War is saying, the Russians have concentrated the vast majority of the available combat power to capture Severodonetsk at the expense of other areas. In other words, at the expense of the rest of the areas they're trying to occupy, and they are suffering heavy casualties. Now, a couple things embedded there, okay? First of all, Russia is occupying lands from up here near Kharkiv, all the way down to near Severodonetsk, all the way down here, Zaporizhia, you've heard of Mariupol here, all the way down to Kherson. And then this is Crimea, which they stole back in 2014 that they're occupying. So you've got a lot of area that Russia's occupying and a lot of area that the Ukrainians are fighting back in. And what the analysts are saying is that rather than protect their gains, because mind you, the Ukrainians are still fighting back around Kharkiv, they're still fighting back around Kherson. Rather than protecting their gains, the Russians have moved a lot of their men and equipment to Severodonetsk. And I would argue it's not entirely clear why. I think they got orders from Putin. I think Putin has been pissed about the way the war is going. He's been embarrassed by it. And, he must have told them that you are going to capture this town and this region, so help me God. Remember, the region is called Donbass, which is a combination of two provinces, two oblasts, the Luhansk and the Donetsk. They control, the Russians do, I'm going to like be hiccuping or burping from my mint tea. Sorry. The Russians control most of, thank you, Mike Webb. The Russians control most of the Luhansk province to the east, and 50 to 80% maybe of the Donetsk province, but they've had a real hard time controlling the rest of it at this point. And what strikes me as going on is I think Putin said, go for it, send everybody you've got. I don't care how many men it takes. I'm embarrassed. I want to be able to tell our people that at least we captured those two provinces. So I'm burping up lies. Yeah. Oh, and saying that you got goodbye, troll. Boom. All right. Well, that's one troll gone. So that's what I think is going on. And it frankly isn't very helpful to the Russians to have Putin get in there and say, I don't care how many people you lose. I don't care whether it's not even strategically important. You are going to throw all your men into winning over that town. It only helps the Ukrainians to have Putin meddle, so more power to it. The Russians still do not control Severodonetsk. There are 10,000 there are 10,000 civilians still trapped in the town. It's a town of 100,000 people. 10,000 are still trapped there. And they're already calling it another Mariupol. Mariupol was the town where the fighting went on for 2 or 3 months, and it was bad, right? So the town's been pretty much destroyed. Thank you, Lieutenant Baxter. I'm going to call you Lieutenant. Otherwise, Institute for the Study of War also says there's an unconfirmed report that Putin has fired the commander of the Russian airborne forces. I'm going to assume this means head of the Air Force. Is what I'm going to assume this means. Russian airborne forces due to mass casualties among Russian paratroopers. Now, I got to tell you, he keeps firing people. I mean, there's been a couple things going on. At the start of the war, remember, Putin went after a bunch of the top defense and his top intelligence people to start with, because he was pissed, I guess, that they didn't win in 3 days and that the Ukrainians actually put up a fight. Then he started lopping off the head of the war effort. Remember how he kept going after and kept replacing the head of the war in Ukraine with another guy and another guy? Remember, then there was the butcher of Syria, and now he's gone and there's another guy in there. Thank you, Catherine, for that. Well, he keeps doing this, and now he's done it with the head of the Air Force, basically. And again, good news, because that makes everybody else jittery. You know, I've worked in a workplace with a hideous boss who didn't know what they were doing when I was at when I was at the United Nations. The boss was evil, she was conniving, and she was incompetent. And she kept everybody scared to the point of tears, and that does not create not just a happy workplace, but it creates people that are afraid of their own shadow and afraid to do their job. And that's what Putin's doing. So by getting rid of this guy, he's scaring everybody below him. And I would argue it's also keeping the troops scared. I mean, giving them a lack of confidence, because how is your morale boosted if the guys over you are either getting killed, right? The generals either keep self-destructing and blowing up, or if they keep getting fired, right? So anyway, there you go. So a Ukrainian official, actually the Ukrainian official in charge of negotiating with Russia, says that, and thank you, Catherine, for the crane, says that the that they may start negotiating with Russia again at the end of August. But after, and I thought this was an important point, after conducting several counterattacks. And I thought that was really good. I liked seeing that basically it looks like to me that the Ukrainians are waiting for the new weapons to come from the West. They're starting to get them, but they're waiting for more of the artillery, and they want to be doing counterattacks to start getting their land back, at least some of it, because they want to start negotiating again with the Russians when they've got more of an advantage, when the Russians are starting to lose land and when the Ukrainians are starting to push it, because then you got an advantage going into the negotiations, whereas right now, Russia's got a little bit of the momentum right now in the east. Ukrainian armed forces say they shot down a Russian plane and captured a pilot in Donetsk Oblast, which is in the Far East. I say the Far East, but the Far East of Ukraine. The 72nd Mechanized Brigade of Ukraine's Air Forces reported on Facebook that it shot down. I love that they're reporting this on Facebook, by the way. The Ukrainian Air Force is reporting its kills on Facebook. Reported on Facebook that it shot down a Russian Su-25 aircraft with a surface-to-air missile. In Kherson, oh, this was a good story too. So Kherson, sorry to pronounce it the Ukrainian way, down here, Kherson is a town and a region that has been captured by the Russians. It is occupied. The Ukrainians are from Mykolaiv here in the north, are fighting down towards it. Well, Kherson is the town where, if you've been watching my other updates, we've been talking about partisan activity, about, I don't want to say terrorists, because they're not terrorists, but they're the good guy. They're the good guys blowing things up. Private citizens working secretly, I'm even forgetting the word. I'm trying to explain, because I remember last time when I used the word, well, they could be insurgents. So I used whatever the common word was last time in the military. Freedom fighters is probably a good way, because some people didn't know what I meant. But basically, they're private citizens in occupied territories who say, they're the resistance, who say, I've had enough. I am going to secretly work behind the scenes and go after the Russians. And typically, they're tied in, I wouldn't say vigilantes. I think underground resistance is a good way of putting it, or guerrillas. But basically, they're private citizens who have gathered together secretly and have ties with Ukrainian intelligence on the outside, right? Thank you, Louis. But they're in occupied territories and basically blow things up to help the Ukrainians. Now, hang on a second. As always, I could adjust my temperature 20 times a day on my phone. So the latest little bomb they did, they tied a bomb to a tree and they targeted a collaborator who is running one of the local prisons. He's a Ukrainian who has, they're Wolverines. Exactly. They're the Wolverines if you know Red Dawn. They are the Wolverines. That's exactly what it is. Well, they tied a bomb to a tree and they waited for one of the collaborators who is running one of the local prisons to drive by and set the bomb off as he drove by. It did a lot of damage to his car. Arifa, and my favorite dinosaur. Thank you. Did a lot of damage to the guy's car. The guy survived. We don't know how he's doing, but he did survive. Nonetheless, what's good about the story from a much higher level is clearly there is an active resistance going on. They know what they're doing. They've got bomb-making material, and they're good at placing the bombs. The Maki, yep, they're Maki as well. They're good at placing the bombs, which is great news, because also it makes it harder for other collaborators, because at this point, if you're collaborating, you've got to really worry about a bomb going off. You're a collaborator in that area. So we've got that. Oh, there's more resistance. I am going to show you this video really quick, just because we've talked about other resistance in the town of Cheboksary. I think it's Cheboksary. I'm pronouncing that Greek probably. It's east of Moscow, a couple hundred miles east of Moscow. And some young guys like 20 and 23, unfortunately, it's all on camera. I think they didn't realize that the thing was televised, but there's the local, they put of course, the town put a monument to the Z, and they came, during broad daylight, and just kicked the hell out of the thing. I'm going to show TikTok first, and then I'll show the rest of you. But the problem was, since it was on camera, they caught them, charged them with vandalism, and there's a penalty of up to 3 years of prison time for doing it. But you got to give the guys credit. And doing this in the middle of the day, incredibly brave and a little dumb too, because I would have said go at night and cover yourselves up, cover your faces up. But it's still good to see that that regular Russians are fighting back, which is good, because this is a dictatorship. Anything like this helps. Q&A, you can put your questions. If you go to my profile on TikTok, you'll see the Q&A box. Click there and put the questions. And when I'm done with the news, we'll jump right into the questions and answers. In Mykolaiv, which is Mykolaiv, town right here, controlled by the Ukrainians, right north of the Russian line, right? Because the Russians, this is Kherson. We just talked about Kherson. That's occupied by the Russians. So Mykolaiv is just north. In Mykolaiv, in response to the Russian occupation or the Russian invasion, the schools are forbidding the study of Russian and the study in Russian going forward, starting like September 1st. In other words, for young kids, grades 1 to 4, they would let the kids study in Russian because it's a Russian-speaking region. A lot of regions in Ukraine are Russian-speaking. Well, they initially let grades 1 to 4 study in Russian. They're not going to allow that any longer, starting in September. And they're getting rid of all classes studying Russian, studying the Russian language. Now, what's interesting is that this was something the Russians kept accusing the Ukrainians of, but it was a lie, saying, you won't let people learn Russian and study Russian and speak Russian and blah, blah, blah. And they totally allowed it. Vlad, my friend who helps us with all the humanitarian aid, who's from Kharkiv, Vlad told me that he didn't start learning Ukrainian until he was 10 years, Ukrainian until he was 10 years old. Sorry about that, Natalia, I've got to get to your question next. That he didn't start learning Ukrainian until he was 10 years old. That until then, it was Russian, and that's all they spoke. So they were never oppressed for speaking Russian, and they all spoke Russian. Well, now, ironically, because of Russia's invasion, now they're not going to be able to. So that's great. Reports say support in the U.S. has changed. While they support Ukraine, cost of living is high. Will this cost a peace negotiation that will soon and benefit France? I think what you're saying is with problems with the economy here in the States, and is that going to cost support for Ukraine? That's what I think you're saying. And actually, I don't mind the rest of you weighing in too, Raggedy Android. That's fine with me. Actually, I'm happy to have other people weigh in and start answering comments too, so feel free to. So So far, you're only seeing like far right wingers, like sort of Fox News viewers, who are saying that not that Fox News viewers are all far right, but I mean Tucker Carlson viewers, the people who are on the far right. You're seeing them talk about, and honestly, it looks like it's more a talking point to hurt Biden, where you're seeing them say, why are we spending $40 billion on Ukraine when inflation and when gas prices are so high? And of course, the response to that is spending more money wouldn't help get gas prices down. So they're not connected, but that kind of an argument might sort of start to catch on. You know what I mean? They may start to say we're spending so much money and time on this other country, and it's obviously hurting our country and this kind of thing, right? So even if it's not true, it could start to resonate. It's not happening yet. I think people's attention is waning a little bit just because there's only so long you can follow a war nonstop, like I do, or like you guys might be doing. But I doubt the opinion polls are changing. I doubt people are saying, oh yeah, this war needs to end, blah, blah, blah. So that's not happening. Now, the one risk I see for Ukraine is Donald Trump. If Trump runs for president, it's going to be nonstop Donald Trump. And if he does run, he may announce next January. And then it's going to be the Trump show. And then everything he says is going to be in the news. And Trump has bought into the argument. Already, Trump made the complaint about why are we passing this bill helping the Ukrainians when we have problems at home. So he's already trying to tap into that nativist vote. And partly because he wants Tucker Carlson and the crazies, sort of the craziest elements of Fox News, to support him, and Tucker Carlson is in bed with Putin and is anti-Ukraine. So that could be a problem because Trump's followers, unfortunately, far too many of them are cult-like. Not all of them. Some of them are normal, but there's a lot of them that don't think for themselves. And there's people like this on the left as well, frankly, but they just will do whatever Trump says. And if Trump says Ukraine bad, America good, only help America, a lot of his followers are going to say, okie dokie. So let's see. Right now, it's not having an impact. No. Could it? Yes, it could as time goes on. All right, let me go on with the news. So a prominent Russian independent journalist, Dmitry Muratov, will auction his Nobel medal to raise money for Ukrainian refugees, he told Reuters. Muratov and Philippine journalist Maria Ressa were jointly awarded the Nobel Peace Prize in October last year for their hard-hitting investigative reporting as well as their advocacy of press freedom. So that's pretty cool. Zelensky, this is good. This is sort of an update on the European Union stuff and how it's going to change Ukraine. Because remember, we talked about how for Ukraine to join the European Union, it's going to have to normalize its laws with Europe's laws, with the EU's laws. It's going to have the same laws, the same employment protections, the same, right? All the same commercial laws and workplace laws are going to have to be the same. So Zelensky submitted to Ukraine's parliament a bill to ratify the Council of Europe Convention on the Prevention of Domestic Violence, also known as the Istanbul Convention. Ukraine signed the convention in 2011, but failed to ratify it in 2016 after a majority in parliament voted against it. According to the majority, the main issue at the time was the word gender in the text, thought to be supportive of same-sex marriage, right? Thought to be supportive of gay marriage. Some European Union members have said ratifying the convention is a precondition for approving Ukraine's candidacy for EU membership. I want to say Netherlands was the one that I saw speak out on that in particular. That's going to be interesting. See, that's what's going to be interesting for Ukraine because it's going to have some of the same issues that Poland had, that Hungary had, I would say are having some of the cultural issues that it's going to have to sort of, the center of the EU on cultural issues is to the left of Poland and maybe to the left of Ukraine as well to a degree. But hopefully it comes along. I've got two more things and then we'll start. Well, this was kind of an odd story. So the Ukrainian Security Agency says that Russian intelligence was using a smartphone game to trick Ukrainian kids into snapping and uploading geotagged photos of critical infrastructure, military, and civilian. I would love to see what this game is, but it's some kind of a game on their phones that they had to take pictures of things and upload them for whatever reason, and they were tricking the kids into taking pictures of key sites. And of course, when they took the picture, it would the GPS on the phone would put the tag on the photo, and then it was helping the Ukrainians, which is kind of scary, and helping the Russians, which is kind of scary. Oh, that's interesting. Let me get to my last thing, and then we'll jump into the questions. Chris, I'm going to highlight your question so I don't lose it, because that's an interesting question. Yeah, Pokemon Go, but was it Pokemon Go? I think it looks like it was. I don't know whether it was Pokemon or whether it didn't mention Pokemon. So it made me think it was some kind of a game that the Russians themselves created, is my guess. But if anybody can find out more on it, I'm dying to find out more on this game. And then finally, and this story doesn't look like it's as bad as I was feared when I first read it. The Biden administration's plan to sell 4 large armable drones to Ukraine has been paused on the fear that its sophisticated surveillance equipment might fall into enemy hands. Basically, what was going on there, I know my voice or what? I know, well, it's the allergy thing too today. It's just, I walked the dog for a bit, and my voice is never going to be normal until the fall, I think. But oh yeah, so for the drones, basically, the Pentagon did a review, and everybody thought it was safe to give Ukraine the drones. Basically that if the drones get shot down, if Russia got their hands on them, it wouldn't be a big deal. Well, then the Pentagon did another review, and they found that, we're a little freaked out about this drone. Actually, I mean, it's a ginormous drone. It can fire Hellfire missiles. I mean, it's huge. And their further review said, this would be really bad if the Russians got their hands on it. I don't know if it's like the targeting system. I forgot what it was. There were 2 aspects of the drone they were worried about. So what the administration could do is they could retrofit the drone. Was this the Global Hawks? Thank you, Crusher, for that. Is that what it is, Chris? That they can retrofit it with older systems, but that's going to take a number of months to do. And the decision hasn't been made yet on whether we're absolutely not sending these drones, but that was a bit of a setback. But I will say those kind of concerns I consider legitimate. We should worry about things getting into Russian hands. That I can accept. So, all right, let's jump to the questions. You can put your questions, like I said, in the Q&A box on my profile on TikTok. You can submit them here. Let me look. Sophia, can't believe the Russians had the brains to come up with something like that game, like the game for the kids. Maybe it was Edward Snowden. Oh my, yes. Good old Edward. Chris is asking, what do you think about the Ministry of Defense in the UK saying Ukraine could use brimstone missiles to strike any legitimate Russian targets? Now, Chris, I don't know if that's something new, because about 6 weeks ago, even 8 weeks ago, the British defense minister said it was totally fine for the Ukrainians to use British weapons to strike Russian territory. Because I remember, at the time, I was really surprised. This was at the time where, we were still hearing more reticence from the Biden administration and others. And all of a sudden the Brits came out and said, the Ukrainians are, it was a 2-part statement, I remember. The Ukrainians are totally in their right to hit Russian territory because the Russians hit their territory, and this is a war. And 2, the Ukrainians are totally in the right to use any weapons Britain provides them to hit Russian territory. And I remember hearing that, and I was like, whoo, damn, because the U.S. is definitely not on board with that. That I thought was very interesting. Okay, somebody's got to tell me what your cracking means. Is my audio fine or what? Okay. Use your words or stop saying that, because you've got me thinking my audio is bad. And if the audio is not bad, don't interrupt me with that. Then don't interrupt me, because I don't know what that is, but don't interrupt me, please. because that kind of stuff makes me stop and then have to ask you guys if things are okay, because sometimes the audio does go bad. What else we got here? Let me try to look for a question on TikTok. TikTok questions. Are Ukrainian internet users in regions that have some Russian, some Ukrainian forces online via Russia or Ukraine infrastructure? All I know is areas that have been taken over by Russia are switching over to Russian internet. That I know. I don't know beyond that. But we've constantly seen that they keep switching over to the Russian internet. Yes, that we know. Correct. Ukraine to train. Oh, hello, Kareem. Kareem Ruiz, thank you for that. The United Kingdom to train 10,000 Ukrainian soldiers every 120 days. That is correct. When Boris Johnson was in Ukraine, God, was it yesterday? I'm already forgetting. Yesterday, maybe the big thing he announced was a new program to train Ukrainian troops on some of the state-of-the-art British, like cybersecurity and all sorts of other things. And they said the program they were doing could train 10,000 Ukrainian troops every 120 days, which is 4 months. And some of the military experts online with us yesterday were telling us that that's actually a hell of a lot of troops. Like that's a really big number. So that it was definitely a significant move, which is great. I've not looked into that Operation Kavol thing yet. Nope. Any news about the grain? No news today. The latest was, thank you, Catherine. The latest was that the French were working on some kind of a deal where perhaps the grain could be exported via Romania. That was the latest news in the last day or two that Macron announced when he was in Kyiv the other day. Oh no, did you hear the Russians tried another river crossing, same spot, same outcome? I did not hear about that. JSM Dayman, is that true? That I did not hear. That's fabulous if that's true. Did they? I'm hoping it's true. Is it true? Anybody? Do we have sort of confirmation in the news of that? That's pretty freaking funny if it's true. Oh, that's hilarious. Yeah, that is a definite Darwin Award. That is hilarious. I mean, the Ukrainians are good at this. The Ukrainians are very good at this. I got to tell you, I want to find an article on that. Will the negotiations in August be real? Probably not. I mean, the thing is, the Russians have got to want to settle. And at this point, Putin does not want to settle, And the thing is, I'm not sympathetic to Biden's argument or to Macron's argument that, if Russia loses, blah, blah, blah. But it is true that, Putin's going to have to lose pretty badly before Putin feels that he's going to have to settle. And maybe he's going to have to die before be replaced with somebody before they can settle. You look at Afghanistan, it took the Russians 10 years to come to the realization that they had to pull out, and they did. They pulled out with egg on their face. It may take them a number of years of Afghanistan-style losses. Frankly, they've already had greater than Afghanistan-style losses, but it may take them years until the peace movement, and not even peace movement, people at home get so pissed off that they're able to push back on it. So we shall see. Let me see if you guys, just to look here, if anybody's got anything question-wise on TikTok, YouTube, the rest of you here. Fox News did an opinion poll that said 6 out of 10 still support helping Ukraine, and they're really red. Yeah, that's good. That's good. On Fox News, that's helpful. Yeah, that's interesting about hitting the thing there. Just looking here to see about questions here. Do I think, FW, do you think the war would be over soon if Russia would attack Germany? Any chance Moscow becomes German? Yeah. I mean, if Russia attacks Germany, then it's World War, then it is World War III. Then NATO gets involved, and short of nuclear weapons, Russia loses. Russia can't afford the war right now the way it's going, right? There's no way. Yawn time has arrived. Hey, sorry. Russia can't afford, Russia's at best tied with Ukraine right now. If NATO gets involved, Russia's toast. So short of nuclear weapons where we all lose, yeah, Russia's not going to attack Germany. They're not stupid. Any chance Moscow be good? So, I mean, as far as the war being over soon, I still feel like this is a war that's going to get dragged out because there is no reason for Zelensky to give land, and Putin is going to be embarrassed no matter what happens because Putin thought they were going to have the whole country in 3 days. So I don't see how you reach a deal. That's the thing. Hang on. That's all right. Just checking here. Checking possible trolls. All right. Yes, I agree. We're going to give that one a little more rope to hang himself with on TikTok. But if he crosses the line, bing, zing him. Elizabeth, I'm all for new training for Ukrainians from the UK, but is it dangerous for Ukraine to send so many troops out of country while they're in an active war? I mean, you do a cost-benefit analysis, risk-benefit, where you basically figure, they've done the analysis where they say no, right? Now, sure, there are 10,000 troops they can use, but depends how long they're moving them out. If they're only moving them out for, well, the only problem is you're right. It's actually, here's a thing, 10,000 troops in 120 days. It didn't hit me until right now, but does that mean 10,000 troops for 120 days of training? Or does that mean over 120 days, the entire system can train 10,000 troops because it's 1,000 troops the first week, 1,000 troops the second week, 1,000 troops the third week, right? They go for 1 week training. It may not mean they're gone for 4 months at a time. It may mean they're gone for 2 months at a time. Hey, Thomas Walsh, welcome. We're still here, right? So I don't know, but either way, Ukraine has got to do its own cost benefit. And clearly they've decided that training these soldiers with state-of-the-art, British strategy that can blow the Russians out of the water is worth it, is worth the risk. So there you have it. Chris, is it a non-NATO country which Russia could attack? Oh, is there a non-NATO country which Russia could attack except for Sweden and Finland that would pull NATO into it? Sure, Japan, right? I mean, if you start looking at Asia, right? South Korea, Japan. I'm trying to think who else over there, but certainly Japan and South Korea. Russia attacks them, and it certainly drags the United States into it. And I think we would drag NATO. We would make sure NATO comes with us. Ireland, I always forget about Ireland. I mean, I never forget about Ireland, but I always forget that Ireland isn't a part of NATO, right? So Ireland, I'm trying to forget who are the other. Moldova, Annette, I'm not convinced. Moldova, sadly, is in that middle ground. I mean, look at it this way. If Ukraine didn't require NATO troops getting involved, Moldova, except that Moldova gets really close there on the border with everybody, which gets problematic. Boy, this is going to be annoying. You'd think the tea would help my throttle here. Austria, Taiwan, yep. Philippines too, I would think. A number of them, but I don't think Moldova. That I don't think. No, no. Exactly. I know exactly. Russia want to check Ireland. Russia got stared down by the Irish fishermen. Remember that whole thing? Because at the beginning of this, Russia was considering or was going to do some kind of military maneuvers out at sea, and it was going to be right off of Ireland, and it was over some area where a bunch of the sea cables come together that affect the internet. And apparently, like Google, Facebook, but Google in particular, a lot of its key cables go there, connecting America, Europe, everything else. And the Irish fishermen like came out in force and scared the Russians away, which was pretty freaking wild, and they canceled it. That was amazing. And to see here. Oh, thank you, Smiling Free, for the pride glasses. I'm just looking here on the various quotes from folks. What else? Yeah, but not Moldova. Vlad's group. I haven't had. Oh, excuse me. Someone asked how Vlad's doing with the humanitarian aid. I haven't had any updates. Jordy, thank you for the shell. I haven't had any updates from them. I mean, basically, I really don't get updates unless it's something in particular. I mean, this is a food group where every day they're delivering like 5,000 meals. So we got them the gasoline that helped them keep delivering the meals for the next 2 weeks. So there's really no update other than they're still delivering the meals. Other than that, I haven't really heard anything. I haven't checked in with Vlad in a few days though. So I've been meaning to just check back with him because it's probably been 3 or 4 days since I've heard from him. So I shall. Thank you, Netlin. That is one of my more favored ones. Throw some potatoes and whiskeys at them. Leslie snuggled up with her dog. That's nice. Okay, now that's interesting. Ragged Android is saying I'm guessing maybe he thinks Romania would pull NATO in if Moldova started getting hit. Now, I forgot about that there's that whole thing with Moldova and Romania. Historical ties. Did Moldova break away from Romania, I want to say, at one point? I'm not so up on my Moldovan, Romanian history. But clearly, Romania would get freaked out if they went into Moldova. Now, here's the thing. What if it were looking like Russia were going to go into Moldova and Moldova asked Romanian troops to come in as peacekeepers? That could be interesting because the Romanians could go in there, and as long as the Romanians don't fire the first shot, it's an attack on NATO. I'm pretty sure if Romanian troops are attacked, as long as Romanian troops don't fire the first shot at the Russians. If the Russians fire on Romanian troops, that's an attack on NATO. So I think you could see that happen if Romania is so worried about it. Thank you, Melanie. You also could see NATO overall just say, you know what, we're drawing the line. You know, you're not going to, if you want to just move into Transnistria, which is already a mess, go for it. But you're not going to move into Moldova proper. What if the Transnistrians moved on Western Ukraine? I mean, with what? You know, I mean, they could, but with what? They have almost no military. From what I read, the military was infinitesimal. They've got a small amount of Russians there. The thing that I think is going on with Transnistria, and again, don't hold me to this, but more or less, Transnistria's over here, more or less. It's a breakaway province or whatever you want to call it. The Russians, I hate even calling it a breakaway province. The Russians have sort of helped it break away in eastern Moldova. And it's right here on the border with Ukraine. And the Russians have been fomenting a lot of trouble. It sounds like it calmed down. But the Russians were fomenting a lot of trouble. And my guess was that they were doing the same thing they're doing in Belarus, where they're trying to make the Ukrainians worried that maybe, like you just asked, Elise, what if they were to move into Western Ukraine? So the Ukrainians feel like they've got to leave a couple thousand troops on the border with Transnistria just to be safe. And it stops those troops from being used further east where the actual fighting is. So that's my guess. Kalisperasas, that's my guess. So, but the actual moving in there, I don't think they would accomplish much if they moved in. But it would be a suck on the Ukrainians' time. That's the only thing. That would be the thing that would not be good. It would make the Ukrainians waste some troops that would be better spent fighting the Russians. All right, let me go look at TikTok questions again. Oops. And go back here, Q&A, refresh. There's the question. Wow, another good one by Star Wars Chef Ray. What weapon of mass destruction would it take to draw the West into the war? Nuclear, I think for sure. The question becomes chemical and biological. I don't know. Nuclear gets interesting because nuclear, they would use a small nuclear weapon, and there are such things. You could use it in the battlefield, and you could use it to hit a command center or something. I'm not really sure in what scenario a nuclear bomb going off is more beneficial than just a bomb. But nonetheless, you could. Thank you, Arifa, for those. It's. The question becomes if they used a small one. Here's what gets interesting. The Russians use a small nuclear bomb. It only kills a few troops because they use it in a remote area, and it ends up killing 5 soldiers, right? So it's not like mass casualties. So imagine that, right? But I think if the Russians use a nuke, there still has to be a disproportionate response from the West, even if only 5 Ukrainians are killed, let's say. And any mods over on YouTube, if you want to go check out TikTok, folks are complaining. So I'm guessing something may be going on over there. But I've not been following, so I don't know. I can't swear to it. I'm not sure what we do if a nuke goes off, but I think there has to be something serious. I mean, there are small nukes, but there really are. There really are. That's the thing. I know it sounds like it, but there really are, but the question is, I think our reaction would still have to be all over the place. Yeah, it's okay. Sometimes we don't have as many mods. It's okay. Because I know Syndicate couldn't be here today. It's his mother's birthday, so he's out with mom, which was very sweet. Anyway, hang on a second. Hold on a second. Let me give me 1 second here, guys. I'm going to do something. Turn off that. All right, hang on a sec. Dismiss. Let me. All right. Sorry, Michaela, you are now a moderator. I'm going to add a few more people who are regulars just cause. Raggedy Android, I'm adding you. I'm just going to add some of the regulars I see here. I don't want to over moderator us, but in the past we've been trying to. I try not to have too many because I don't want to interfere with the regular mods, but sometimes we've got to do it. Hang on, guys. 1 quick sec here. Just looking for maybe, Audrey-Anne, God, we know you. Our French moderator in Québécois. And don't be offended if I don't make you a mod, but I'm just trying to make 3 or 4 of you. Okay. All right, you guys, I just added you 4 as mods. Basically, the bottom rule, and I'll look in here as well for you guys. The bottom rule for mods is I'm just trying to get rid of the crazies, just the absolute crazies. People who we know, the obvious people who are here to cause trouble. People who disagree, give them some leeway, right? People disagree with us. I'm more than happy to have them disagree if they're civil, and if they're being civil. And they're not posting the same question 20 times and they're not being rude, it's not a problem, okay? Yeah, exactly. James, you got LinkedIn covered? Sorry. Thank you, Netlin. You got it covered. All right. We've got YouTube covered now. So I will also can I do that here with some of you guys? I think so. Actually, yeah, Ashley, you're there. You're there covering things. Yeah. No, you got Ashley today. So hopefully a couple of you guys. Yeah, let me hang on. I'm going to add another one or two here. All right, NATO bot, I just added you. I'm just adding one or two who I've seen so many times that I know they're okay. All right. Poppy, I'm adding you as well. Now, the only thing is we do have a lot of regular moderators, so I don't want to run afoul of them, so to speak, okay? Because they kind of have a rhythm of things, and also they've had a lot of feedback with me telling, they give me examples of things, and I say, this is good, this is bad. Thank you, Maddie. But overall, we try to go first after the obvious Russian trolls, right? If they're obvious, they're sitting here posting Russian flags, which of course they can't anymore. I blocked it. But they're just posting Russian flags. They're going, hoorah, this kind of Russian stuff. Literally, na stuff, they're blocked. That stuff goes. Beyond that, if someone's being ornery, give them a chance, because sometimes people are angry, but they don't mean to be trolly. They're just angry, and if you give them a chance, and you could even tell them as a mod, say, hey, we're trying to keep things cool here. They might sometimes go, oh yeah, okay. And then they're normal, right? But you just try to, see, even Russia, not the enemy. I don't mind somebody saying that. That's fine too. But you want to sort of have them get enough of if it's not obvious, I always tell people, the last thing I'll tell you, and then we'll continue. If you're not sure, give them another chance. If you're not sure, then you should give them another chance. That's what I always say. And then if they prove they're bad, knock them out. But if they come back to you and say, hey, I got banned, I really don't think it was fair, whatever, let them back in. Because I find that those people tend to be good people. The bad people don't usually come back and say, hey, could you let me back in? What happened? The good people are the ones that say what happened. And sometimes we make mistakes. So always let the good people back in. And my final point will be, like I said, if they come over from TikTok to YouTube and say, hey, I got blocked, could you help me out? We always help them out, okay? I have no problem with people coming over and doing that. All right, that's enough of that. So I was just looking over on oh, and if you guys can check with the, I'm assuming the mods on YouTube are able to see the questions that are held. Obviously go through and see the questions that didn't pass muster from the auto filter and decide if they should be shown. I just picked one to be shown and one not to be shown, but that's up to you guys. Okay, I'm going to close that one though so that it doesn't affect the bandwidth. There we go. We are now back. Okay. I'm glad we didn't lose anybody from either service. Thank you for sticking with, guys. I just think it's important that we have the moderators to keep it sane for you all, and that we help. Jordy, thank you. The dinosaurs are probably my latest fave, are the dinosaurs. Being a dino fiend myself. Actually, hold on, just to show you for fun. This is my big hunk of dinosaur bone. We have no idea what it's actually from. You see the side, I'll show you. If you know dinosaurs, you'll recognize this as being petrified dinosaur bone. And even better on this side, you can see sort of some of the holes and things. But it's this big chunk. I won't even go into the details of how I got it. But I was shopping somewhere and it immediately caught my eye. I mean, the thing is, it's probably worth nothing because it's annoyed. I think it's annoyed, they call it. No, not annoyed. What do they call it? There's a word in dinosaur hunting that means you have no idea what it is. It's a chunk of anonymous rock that they have no idea what dinosaur it's from. And I don't know. I think it's not. I was asking on a forum once and they said, it's not worth much because nobody knows what it is, So to me, I love it because it's this big hunk of dinosaur bone. And the best part was I found it in some thrift shop because I literally, I mean, because I'm into these things. I literally looked at it, and in my mind, I went, "That's a dinosaur bone. That's a petrified dinosaur bone." And so I looked at a bunch of other stuff, and then I said, "Oh, what's this?" He goes, "Oh, that's a dinosaur bone." I said, "Oh, that's kind of cool." So then I went on and literally spent 10 minutes looking at some other stuff, and I made sure I grabbed one and two other things, and I was like, "Oh, how much for this? Okay, and this. If I do this, oh, that's this." And I said, "Oh, how much if I add on that dinosaur thing?" "Oh, it'll be another blah blah." I was like, $25. I said, "Okay." And again, it's not worth a lot, but it's, as somebody said there, it's worth a lot to me because to me, it's not to get totally off our topic, but I love the aspect of this stuff. It's just so cool, being able to, that this was part of an animal, anywhere from 60 million to a couple 100 million years ago. It just blows my mind. Absolutely blows my mind. I wish there was a way. Although this is interesting, I do find this part interesting because there is a regular waviness to this part of the bone that has me curious. It could just be the way that it weathered, but it's suspicious to me. Anybody who's into paleontology, you know what I mean? Especially from this side, it's just a little suspicious. But anyway, that's what I mean. $25. I was like, that was my. Probably the shin bone. Yeah. That was my question. I was like, for $25, I'm not even going to get into where I bought it. Because after I got home, I was like, was that too weird that I was able to buy that? Although dinosaur bones are legal, so it's not a question, but still, it was a little weird. All right. Anyway, back to, it looks like part of your hip. Exactly. No, I should actually, New York, I'm so pissed because I lived in New York for 2 years and literally I was leaving. And then I saw the advertisement that every year in springtime, like in April, the Natural History Museum has not just fossil, bring your stuff day. And you can bring your fossils, your minerals, everything you found. And they've got different expert tables set up and they will go and tell you what it is or from their perspective what it is. And I was dying to bring that and another piece I have. All right, I know we're getting off Ukraine topic, but nobody's leaving. I'll show you the other piece I have that's very cool. As I break the microphone on my neck. This other piece is very cool because it's either something or nothing again. And what was neat about it is this is a piece that I found in southern Greece on my uncle's property. We were just with my uncle when I was 13 years old and on his farm. And it was a farm that, really kills me now because he had I was 13 years old and I love this stuff. He had a farm that included land that had ancient ruins on it that pretty much predated the ancient Greeks. And I remember looking at this farmland and you saw multiple houses but they were no longer houses. They were maybe 2 feet off the ground and you could see the outline of the houses because they were stones put together. They were stone walls that were the walls of the homes and they were only about 2 feet high, but they went around and you literally saw the walls, but they were very small buildings, of course, right? They were 10 by 12 feet, this kind of thing. And you'd see the walls and where a door would be. No, this is back like 1977. So this is before, I didn't have my camera with me. I didn't take pictures, but I remember seeing the whole thing and going, oh my God. And he told me that he had found a few things. He said he found a beautiful pot actually when he used to tow what do you call it? Not tow the field, churn the field up, right, with his plow and the animal pulling, and this beautiful Greek vase that came up and it totally disappeared in his hands. He said it literally came out of the ground and fell apart in his hands. But I had found a stone on the ground and it was interesting. Picked it up just because I thought it was interesting, brought it back. He looked at it and was convinced that this was from a pre-ancient Greek period. Now, again, if you're an amateur, that sounds exciting. That could still be something worth $50. It's not like it's necessarily expensive, but he was convinced that tilling the soil, there you go, that was it. He was convinced that this was from the research I've done, we're talking potentially 6 to 10,000 BC, maybe. What's interesting about it is, I'm going to show you guys really quick. I mean, you can see, you know, the holes are interesting. The form is interesting. There's even some potential markings, but it's hard to tell if the markings are, and then the back of it, if the markings are real or not, you know, or just the marks on it. I mean, it even made me wonder whether it was a, oh my God, what do you call it? A Venus, you know, potentially. But in any case, I took it to the Field Museum in Chicago. Again, I was 13. I got home, took it to the Field Museum, and I took a couple other pieces I found, Stegosaurus, I wish. And they were funny because the Field Museum was like, where did you get these? I was like, my uncle's farm. It's like, oh, well. But they disagreed. He actually called another expert over. And the two of them, these were the guys, you know, the actual guys behind. And they looked at it. One expert was convinced that the holes were made by water dripping. And he said, you'd be surprised over thousands of years. I mean, I'll show you guys sort of closely the way you can see there's kind of the way the holes went. One of them was convinced the holes were water dripping. The other one was convinced it was man-made. It was very interesting because it's also interesting the difference in the science. One was like, oh no, this was man-made. Absolutely, those holes are man-made. He goes, I'm not sure what it was for. The other one, you know, opposite. I mean, it also made me wonder whether the holes were to tie it onto something. This could be at the top of a building. I mean, it could be potentially a tool. Anyway, I love this stuff. To me, I love the old stuff because it's just so interesting to me to think of people back then touching it and using it, and we're touching it today. And it could have been an anchor of some sorts. I mean, this was inland. This was inland, though. You know, they weren't that close to the sea. You know, like an hour's drive to the sea, which means back then it would have been pretty far. Oh, megalodon teeth would be cool. Now, we need to do that at some point. We'll continue with Ukraine. We should do a get together just to discuss this stuff. You know, just to discuss sort of the paleontology and the archaeology. I love them both. I just think it's fascinating. And again, you don't have to spend a lot. Obviously, the more you spend, 2 missed super chats. Okay, I'll go look. The more you spend, the nicer pieces you get, of course, you know. Yeah, the Field Museum, I finally went again a few years ago. Oh my God. It is so much improved from when I was a kid. Oh my God. Okay, sorry, I'm scrolling back to find the questions themselves. Okay. Okay, I've got Christie's. Was there a second one I missed here? I mean, Maddie has a super sticker. I think, Maddie, thank you. I think I thanked you for that. Hang on. And then Christie's. I'm borderline. I defected from TikTok. Any update on the Russians stealing the fish? Oh, no, that's funny. That's funny. That was the Russians stealing the Turkish fish. Yeah, they had boarded a Turkish fishing boat, a couple of them, and stole their fish. But there's nothing on that. No, there's nothing on that. A delicious soup stock. Oh, with my artifact, exactly. Dino soup. All you need is a dinosaur bone, but it would be much better with some celery. Anybody have celery? So, hang on, let me look and see if I missed something else here. Oh yeah, the dinosaur footprints would just, I mean, I love that stuff. I would wonder about it being a Spinosaurus. That'd be pretty cool. Raggedy Android, where is your super chat? With great power comes great responsibility, Raggedy Android. Don't criticize. Oh, there it is. I had even started. Sorry. I started and didn't even realize I had it. Sorry. Romania and Moldova just had a joint commission today for the first time ever. I saw that. pressing for Moldova to get into the EU and both condemning the war. Yes, I didn't see the rest of it. I saw that Moldova and Romania got together and condemned the war, and that this was like a big deal that they did it together. I didn't know about any of the rest of it. Now, again, I don't know enough about the two of them historically. I mean, is there talk about them ever reuniting historically again? Is that something in the offing? I mean, people were saying, one of you guys might have even suggested this like a month or two ago, that Moldova joins Romania and it automatically becomes a part of the EU and NATO. Not a dumb idea, you know? Very interesting. So, just throwing it out there. Yep, when Tyson and Syndicate take a vacation, all hell breaks loose. Exactly. Okay, I'm just looking here. Make sure. Okay, did we point out everything I missed? Okay, was there anything else I missed or not in terms of the super chat questions? Otherwise, I'm going to go back to TikTok. Asteroid. We ate them all. Well, the latest is they actually found the asteroid hole. The asteroid divot is north of the Yucatan Peninsula in the Mexican. Oh my God, I'm forgetting the name of the damn bay. Look at me. Whatever it's called off of Texas there. Jesus Christ, I'm losing my mind today. But they've looked underwater and they've actually got the hole from that. But they think it was that and an eruption, a volcanic eruption, like near India or something that happened at the same time. Gulf of Mexico, thank you. I was going to say Bay of Mexico, Gulf of Mexico, but right north of the Yucatan there. Yep. But they think it was the combination. What would Putin have to achieve to be like Peter the Great? Oh God, I have no idea. Any Russian historians want to weigh in on that one? What would Putin have to achieve to be like Peter the Great? What do you think? Can we answer Maddie Man's question? See, I've got everybody talking craters and dinosaurs now. You know what? We need to bring, that's a good idea, actually. I mean, totally crazy other thing to do, but my TikTok is about news and everything. I need to find a dinosaur person to come on with us and talk dinos. That would be fun. Just to do like dinos for an hour and a half. It's totally not news, but who cares? You know? It would be totally fun to do. So we got Peter the Great. Laka says, well, Peter the Great is dead. Yeah, James just said the same thing. Die? For Putin to be like Peter the Great. Nothing new on Putin's health. Nothing new on Putin's health. Nope. Boy, a lot of you are focusing on dying. Oh, boy. Yeah, the dino thing. I've got to see if somebody knows maybe a good TikToker on dinosaurs. We've got to see. Actually, I need to find one, actually, because since I'm so into dinos. Dino TikTok. Maybe I'll have to Google and see if I can find anything on that. Thank you, Baby Shoe. I haven't seen anything about a Russian base in Nicaragua. I know the Nicaraguans just recently sort of invited the Russians to come. Remember? So that's a concern. But I don't know about an actual Russian base or anything, whether it's gone that far. I don't know about that. Peter the Great was killed by his wife. Was he really? Well, in this case, it would be by his mistress or his wife. Oh, that's fun. Really, Chris? Oh, that's fun. That's fun. Well, that's the problem, Leslie, is I'm not in New York anymore. I'm in D.C. And the Smithsonian's here, but I've heard nothing about the Smithsonian doing anything like that. And I would love to find out, but I don't know that they do anything like that. Actually, I've actually got the email address of somebody there. I should write to him about that and just ask him if they do these kind of things. The problem is, I need somebody to go through like my whole collection basically and just give me, because I've got all sorts of, I've got cool things. that I found in Mali. For example, I've got some beautiful bracelets that I bought in Mali that probably go back a little bit, because Mali at the time wasn't, 20 years ago, wasn't exactly overrun with tourists. And they're just really cool, and they look like sort of old tribal bracelets. But again, I'd like to know more about them, like what they are, Yeah, do a TED talk. Do a TED talk on on all my artifacts that I don't know what they are. Science is real. Okay, science is real. Okay, for dinos. I will check that out right when we're done. Professor Dave. Okay, I'll check that out too. Yeah, because there's got to be good. I mean, obviously there's good ones. And then once I see who I like, maybe I can get one of them to come on and just do a dino show, which would be really cool. I can ask questions. You can ask questions where of what? Star Wars? She afraid? Yeah, Putin divorced. They think he's having an affair with that woman. I don't know, was she a former ice skater or something? And she was sanctioned by the West, so they seem pretty clear. They seem pretty clear that they think it's. I don't know that museums do it though, because I wonder if there's just too many people that ask. I'd have to. I mean? I don't know if there's too many people that ask them to do that. Actual paleontologist. Okay, I will check that one out too. Hang on. Actual. Oops. Paleontologist. Oops, if I can read my writing. I should be putting this in my thing here. Yeah. Bill Nye. Although this is maybe too specific. There's two. Alina Kabaeva, that's the name. Thank you. Yep. Putin's presumed mistress. Try Ross from Friends, exactly. Oh, and Sasha wants to go back out again. Hold on. Actually, today is, go on. It's nice out. Go on. Go. I mean, it's like 70 degrees out. It's absolutely stunning out there. Like ridiculously nice weather. So nice. Of course, now we're just sticking with this. Is she a rumor she's pregnant again? Jesus Christ. Just checking here. Oh boy, you got me yawning, guys. 115 there. Well, I don't know. Do we have any more? Let me look at the questions too. We always could wrap up because I can feel like it's kind of the energy is draining away from us here, folks. Since I got you all talking about dinos, which is not a bad thing. How will winter affect the war? I mean, a few things. Winter is going to be a problem because, first of all, it's going to be a problem for Europe with the energy imports that they're getting. Is going to be a huge issue. That's going to be a huge problem. That all of a sudden the Russian cutting off their gas is going to matter a lot in the winter. For the troops, it makes the ground firm, which makes it a little easier for tanks and things like that. The temperature isn't going to make it a lot of fun for it isn't going to make it a lot of fun for the troops themselves that are outdoor in the cold the whole time, right? Trying to sleep in the weather. One of the things that we saw at the beginning of the war, because it was still cold and freezing, is the Ukrainians were using thermal cameras on drones to look and find hidden Russian tanks and vehicles hidden in the forest because the Russians were freezing to death. So they kept the engine going on their tanks or their vehicles and would sleep inside. And the Ukrainian, the heat-seeking or the thermo cameras on the drones would immediately spot this super hot tank in the middle of the forest and they'd blow it up. So the cold can affect it that way. The other thing that I read just this morning was for artillery, like warmer, colder weather cuts back on the distance that artillery shells fly. like when it's warmer, they go farther, which I was not aware of. And I'd be curious about the physics of that. But that was interesting to me. Oh, air conditioning. Yeah. Yeah, right, about everything overheating too. I don't know. Let's call it quits. I think we can call it quits. Let's move this over to the hanging out period where we hang out for another 10 minutes. We can do that, and then we'll call it a day. But you pay me, literally. Nobody pays me. At this point, I'm doing this full time, and most of the income is, I kid you not, from the cute gifts you guys put on TikTok and from the super chat questions you guys give me is most of the money coming in. At some point, I've been avoiding it. I'll probably put like a fundraising video up, you can donate. I've got fundraising up via thank you, Ricky Tiki. I've got like fundraising links or donation links in my beacons link, like the link I do off of my profile page on TikTok. But I hate asking for money. I just need to do a video, occasionally do a video fundraiser, which I need to do, so I will. Making sure I didn't miss. Oh, interesting. Okay. But oops, what did I just miss there? Pride flag and pride glasses. Thank you. Weebadeb and Jessica. But yeah, I'll have to put a video. I'll probably do a fundraiser, make it easier. But we are very close. Oh, thank you. Okay, Cindy's posting my Cash App. Thank you, Cindy. Well, actually, that's true. My Cash App. I think did I have a banner set up for that? I don't remember if I did. Well, I've got the link set up. That's the link. I mean, that is the link for my Beacons link that has all the fundraising options: Cash App, Venmo. I'm pretty sure I'm Aravosis at each of them. Aren't I Aravosis at Venmo too? I think so. Like Venmo's Aravosis and Cash App's Aravosis. But in any case, you can check it out. But what I was thinking is I have 99% made a decision that I'm going to set up a Discord, I think. And we can do that. Syndicate is helping me do it. God forbid, God forbid, but God thank him, because it's not easy stuff. And he's done them before. Hello, Chazi from Greece, or Chatzi. But I'm pretty much going to set up that's right, the recap. Set up a Discord, and you can donate. Basically, you can sign up via. Thank you, Linda, for those. You'll be able to sign up via Patreon, because people seem to know how to use Patreon. Well, I'm hoping Discord will be able to explain to people, because honestly, Discord was a little hard for me when I first got on it, and now it's fine. But when I first got on, I was like, but enough people use it that hopefully we can educate people how to use it. But we were thinking we can sort of make a community. We can sort of have the community be there at the same time as here. I can try to offer some value added, depending on the donation level. Have a section that's, I don't know, private, where I answer more questions and things, or I don't know what, but we're sort of working on that right now, trying to figure out what would be because I always say, like, what's the value added? I want to offer some kind of value to people that if they're paying to support my work, and if we use the Discord model, that there's some value to what you're getting out of it, that in addition to, you just know you're supporting my work, which is fair enough, but that's exactly it. Yeah, what Caleb's saying. Some influencers set up a Patreon and attach a Discord for subscribers to be more personal. That's exactly what we're talking about doing. Exactly. I need a place to post our Wordle scores. Exactly. What's your question, Jonathan Barber? Can't promise I'm going to answer it, but you can ask. Sorry, just look here really quick. And like I said, don't get me doing OnlyFans. We've talked about that. Yes, I will not be. We're going to set it up. I mean, we're going to, Syndicate's going to be traveling a little bit. So we'll probably, I'm hoping to launch it at the beginning of July, probably. But we'll see. As I said, probably we'll do it, And it's a good way to also, because also I want to sort of have a place for us that isn't just like, I'm less worried about YouTube and Twitch and everything as I am TikTok. TikTok gets finicky, and I don't want to just like lose everybody because TikTok decides to have a bad day, and just bans me or something. You know what I mean? So it'd be nice to have like a forum we could all go to just to be safe. But I'd still keep doing the TikToks and everything else. It's just a matter of, and as I've said before with Twitch, if the Twitch audience keeps growing, and thank you Twitchers for being here today, but if the Twitch audience keeps growing, maybe I'll switch over to affiliate. Today, I qualify as of today, but I'd have to do them as independent broadcasts, separate broadcasts, and I don't know if I want to be doing an entirely separate broadcast, because this I get to stream to everybody at once. And I found the language at Twitch, and it's very clear. It basically, okay. Sorry, I'm getting barked at by the dog. Come on in. All right. And I did find the language, and basically, if I become an affiliate, I have to stream to Twitch exclusively, and then separately I can stream to everybody else. But the everybody else stream cannot go to Twitch. Twitch has to be its own thing that I do for an hour, and then afterwards I can do whatever I want with the other ones. And in order to do that, it's got to be worth it, just because it's tiring doing this twice a day, in addition to sort of doing the videos all day and everything else. So we'll see. Thank you, Webadeb. But it'd be interesting. I mean, if I could do it, it would be fun, I mean, it'd be interesting to see if it could work on Twitch, Well, and the other thing, just so you know, the broadcast I'm doing now Twitch holds it for a few weeks. YouTube holds it permanently, so you can always go to YouTube to see the broadcast if you ever miss it. Every day it goes on, and I'm going to do the recap right now. It always goes on there, so there's that. Oh, that's interesting. Jonathan Barber says a TikTok about Russian artillery exploding from lack of maintenance or overuse. I'm not surprised. I did not see it, but I'm not surprised. There's a lot of talk about the Russians being, I'm going to stay on TikTok, don't worry. There's a lot of talk about the Russians being really bad with how they maintain their munitions and just blowing things up on them. Hello, Daniel. Just a recommendation based on what you're saying. You would love Time Team. Oh, a British archaeology TV show. Oh, Time Team. Definitely check it out. Most episodes are on YouTube. Time Team. Sure. Time Team. I will check it out. Yeah, no, all things, and it sucks too, because I don't have friends that are into this stuff. And it drives me crazy. My interests are totally different from my friends. So like I said, I've got the archaeology and the paleontology gene like nobody's business, and my friends don't at all. So thanks, Charlie. I appreciate it. All right, let me do my recap. So you'll be my dinosaur buddy, since I don't have dinosaur buddies in person. Institute for the Study of War is warning that the Russians have concentrated the vast majority of their available combat power to capture Severodonetsk, but they are doing it at the expense of other areas, and they are suffering heavy casualties. Thank you, call name, for that. I'm assuming from Norvège. I'm saying Norvège. That's French. I have no idea how you say Oh, no, is that Norvège? Norvège? That's French. I forget in Norwegian how you say Norway. I should know this. How do you say it in Norwegian? Somebody write that out. I'm curious. I don't remember. Is it Norvège as well? It can't be. That's French. Unconfirmed reports that the Kremlin has fired the commander of the Russians' airborne forces due to mass casualties among Russian Norge. That's it. I remember that. Yep, I should have known that. Norge. I say Norge, however you pronounce it. Norge. That's right. You're welcome, Lindsay. A Ukrainian official says, the guy in charge, actually Ukraine's chief negotiator, says that Ukraine may resume talks with Russia at the end of August. The Ukrainians say they shot down a Russian plane and captured the pilot in eastern Ukraine. In Kherson, the underground, what were we calling it? I'm already forgetting. We had pulled up the word we wanted for them. The underground, the Wolverines, tied a bomb to a tree and blew up the car of a collaborator. In Mykolaiv, which is a Ukrainian town just north of occupied Kherson, the school district is forbidding the teaching of Russian language, and teaching in the Russian language will both be banned. Two young Russians were arrested for kicking in the letter Z monument in their town. There was a big Z monument in plastic, and they kicked it in and broke it. But unfortunately, it was on camera, so now they may face 3 years in prison, up to 3 years. A prominent Russian independent journalist, Dmitry Muratov, will auction his Nobel Peace Prize to raise money for Ukrainian refugees, which is pretty cool. Zelensky will submit a bill to parliament to ratify the Istanbul Convention, which is required as a prerequisite to joining the EU. Thank you, Lindsay. Ukrainian Security Agency says that Russian intelligence was using a smartphone game to trick Ukrainian kids into snapping and uploading geotagged photos of critical infrastructure, military and civilian. And finally, the Biden administration's plan to sell 4 large armable drones to Ukraine has been paused because of fears at the Pentagon that its sophisticated surveillance equipment might fall into the hands of the Russians. And that is that. And thank you, Joanna. Now, I don't think I can be partnered. What's the difference between partner and affiliate? I know I've reached the affiliate level. Now we're in the hangout and we chat period of the show. I know I'm gonna open up my Twitch as we're talking. I know that I'm eligible for affiliate at this point, but I thought partner is a much higher eligibility level, is it not? Twitch affiliates. Take part in the program and start earning on Twitch. I know. It's trying to sucker me in. But if I become part of that, you're going to screw me. You're going to make me only stream here. I know. Dashboard? Oh, there we go. Maybe. New followers. Where's my... Just looking here to see. Oops, here we go. Oops. My hair looks fab. Thank you, Kennedy. These are important things. Affiliate gets you some custom emoji, though. I mean, that's great. It's just, like I said, if I become an affiliate, then I've got to do exclusive content, and that's going to be hard because, I mean, it's just tiring. Like right now, I'd finish with you guys and I'd have to do an hour on Twitch, which I could. It has to be worth it. You know what I mean? I don't want to sound rude, but where is the Twitch is so weird. Like when I'm trying to find like it's not settings, appearance, my channel, but it's just showing me my channel. I mean, it's not even showing me like where I don't want to do it, but where I would go to even switch over. Stream manager? No. Yeah, it's not even showing me where I would go over to switch. Maybe because I'm on my phone. I think it shows you more when you log in, which is funny. You know? See you, music girl. They should, because it's a problem. Norge, you're a little late on the Norge, Tony. Thank you. The exclusivity thing is a problem, because the problem, what it does is exactly what I'm going through, where I'm already making money on YouTube and TikTok, especially, and it's enough that I certainly wouldn't want to dump it. And Twitch, who the hell knows? But also, I don't want to start a second show. Thank you. Who was that? The Inspired? Who was that? Annette Lynn. I wanted to see who the Inspired Woman. I thought that was you. Yeah, thank you. And Lynn both. But like, I wouldn't want to just start right now on doing Twitch and having a whole other show. Thank you, Iggy, because it's tiring if I don't know, right? Like they're making you make a commitment too early in the process. Whereas like if I had hundreds of followers and I knew it was going to translate into income, then I would consider doing a whole separate show in another hour and a half, right? I worked at the UN. I've never taught. No. I consider it. I always worry nowadays that teaching is just insane. I just feel like students are all going to record you and report you for everything. And I just don't think I'd want to deal with that. I feel like everything I say would be too controversial. It'd be like, oh God, go away. I have so little tolerance for that. Actually, the irony is TikTok tends to bring in way more than YouTube, generally speaking. So it's interesting, actually. I thought YouTube is very hard to grow on for whatever reason, but it's very hard to grow. And I don't know why, but it's, it just is. But yeah, TikTok has always been better. So I would never give up TikTok. I'm not giving up anything. Yeah, partnered means you can earn more, but I think there's a certain level you have to reach for partnered, certain number of subscribers, something like that, I think. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, Leslie, I've just heard from a lot of people that teaching is not easy. I mean, not easy, but like you said. Becca, you rock. Thank you. I will not adopt you, Michael. No. Certainly not having seen you. But in any case, no, but I'm very intrigued by the Twitch thing. So I want to give it a try, but it's right. It would make it so much easier if they didn't have these restrictions, because exactly, I don't think I want to start the affiliate thing until I get a lot more followers, like what's the point, or I'd have to unaffiliate or whatever it would be. I don't even know, but anyway, they are shooting themselves in the foot with it, unfortunately, because it's slow. It's stopping me from doing it until later rather than giving it a try. YouTube, yeah, I mean, and YouTube is less crazy in terms of the trolls, Want me to try to get on Twitch? I don't know. You can try, Ricky Ticky. Sure. Привет. We have a Ukrainian. Oh, DLB is back. I remember you. Привет, DLB. Everybody give DLB some sunflowers. You don't make as much as it seems. Like popular people make a ton, but if you're not as popular, well, no, exactly. Yeah, no, exactly. Facebook, I don't think there's a way. Oh no, Daniel, I got Daniel already. Hold on, I already got Daniel. Yeah, because I told Daniel I was going to write it down. I was going to check it out. Yeah. No, I already put it up and told Daniel. I already wrote down. Time team. See? Time team. Why do you ask to be paid from the death and misery of this war? Because I have a mortgage. That's why I ask to be paid from death and misery. Because we do not live in the communist utopia. And if we lived in the communist utopia, I would not need to be paid. But if I'm going to be covering Ukraine full time, I need to be paid. Yes. That's life. No, this is, and actually, I mean, I get sort of ornery about it because this is something on the left. Oh my God. I was a Republican. I was a Republican and switched like in the early 90s. And the thing that has probably frustrated me the most with Democrats and folks on the left in America is this notion that when you do good work, you shouldn't be, I don't mean when you do good work, meaning versus bad work, but when you do good work, when you're trying to help things, when you work on civil rights or whatever, you shouldn't be paid for it because it's good stuff. You shouldn't be paid to do good stuff. You should just do good stuff. And that's very true if you're volunteering. But if you're doing it full time, you've got to be paid for it or you can't do it full time. And it's something that, I mean, I had somebody at Media Matters even say that to me once. They were not going after Rush Limbaugh the way they should have. I mean, they would follow him, but I was like, you need a daily effort to track. I mean, he's gone now, but you need a daily effort to track all of his advertisers. And I was spelling out exactly what he needs. And frankly, it's the same thing they need to do to Tucker Carlson, and they're not. They don't track his daily advertisers. They don't. Oh, another from Kyiv. Привет, Chicago pilot from Kyiv. And I told them, I said, I will do it with you. We need a campaign to track the daily advertisers, get the list up, have people call, up. And they were like, well, okay, I mean, why don't, we don't really have they have 100 staff. We don't really have the staff to do it. But if you could have your staff do it, and I'm like, I don't have staff, I'm me. Then I said, could you guys give me a stipend or something to do it? And literally the response was, oh, so you want money. That's what this is about. And this is somebody at Media Matters getting paid like $100,000 a year. And I said to him, are you being paid? And he stopped dead on the phone. I mean, people don't think you should get paid. And especially now that we're in this whole new economy. And frankly, I started with the new economy early on because I was doing advocacy online in the late 90s on gay rights back then. And it's people and some of it was full time. I mean, Dr. Laura Schlesinger, we got Dr. Laura kicked off of TV. That was a 1-year campaign. Did I miss the question, Mikola? But I would always get the people on the left. People on the left just do not think that people should be paid for doing advocacy work. And if you want if you're a volunteer, it's fine. But if you want somebody to do it full time, it's got to be sustainable in some way, So there you go. At least if they're doing good stuff. But again, I say the same thing for Yulia, for Zina Solo. I mean, for the other, but also just the other creators you see, not just on Ukraine, the other creators you see where they're clearly doing a lot of content, think of chipping in and helping them out because it's great what they're doing. It's great what they're doing. And it's so much time that it's more, it's anyway. Leslie says, could not agree more. I used to be a senior executive for a nonprofit, worked 7 days a week. People want you to do it for free. And I mean, I get it. But actually, the thing that they also don't understand, is by doing this kind of work, we're already making a sacrifice. I could have made so much money. The number of jobs, when I was just out of law school, I got offered $65,000 a year to be a lawyer at the Federal Reserve here in DC. That was a lot of money back in 1989. That was a lot of money in 1989. Instead, I took a job working on Capitol Hill for like $33,000 a year. And then after 5 years there, I took a job making like $43,000 a year at the Children's Defense Fund. So I still wasn't anywhere near what the Federal Reserve offered. I mean, it's like, if I had taken the job at the Fed, forget it. I would have been set for life, working with the federal government at that salary 30 years ago. But if you do good work and work on the left, some people make a lot of money. I do have balcony though, which makes up for it. I agree. But yeah, you're already pretty much taking a sacrifice. Generally speaking, some people are able to monetize it, and I'm always jealous of them. They're millionaires working on the left. But generally speaking, like you said, nonprofit work and everything else, it's hard. So here we go. Partnered. The main requirement for being partnered on Twitch is having at least 75 viewers each Twitch stream for consecutive 30. That's interesting. Well, I certainly don't have that. Definitely don't have that. So that would have to build. I guess part of the question becomes, does the affiliate help me build followers or not? Does it actually help me build the number of people I've got? Apartment tour. I could do an apartment tour sometimes. I'd have to clean it. I'd be curious whether the affiliate actually helps build the followers. You're a nurse for an end-of-life charity. People think I shouldn't be paid because it's a charity. Well, and that's, and when it comes, I know I should just show the balcony at some point. When it comes down to it, oh God, Jimmy Dore, he's terrible. Did you see what he just did the other day? Dear Lord, he's awful. When will I learn Ukrainian? Probably not. I was looking at this is my day job at this point. My day job has always been internet and politics and advocacy, hola Bolivia, and all of that kind of thing. And I decided to just go full time doing Ukraine news when the war broke out. Exactly. Who needs money when you can be? Who needs money when I can be recognized on the street? But Palencia? Oh no, Palianitsia. Palianitsia. I studied Russian for a year, so I can do the weird pronunciations. I just don't know necessarily where the accent goes. But since I studied Russian, I can do the yas and the chus and that kind of stuff. And I speak Greek, which helps as well. But the problem is I studied Russian, so when I started using Duolingo to try to learn Ukrainian, and it was too hard. It was so different from Russian. I didn't realize how different it was from Russian. It was so different that it was like starting over again, and it was really hard. And Greek is very hard too. It was very hard. And with Russian, at least, and mind you, my year of Russian was 40 years ago, but I'm surprised how much of it stuck. Like in Duolingo, starting with Russian, it definitely had me more advanced because a lot of it stuck. So I finally decided that I was going to work on my Russian, and that when I go to Ukraine finally, I'm going to use my Russian and I'm going to say, "Извините, я только говорю по-русски." And that's it. And then say "Извините." And that's all I can do. And people will, but I'll say, what is it? "Я американский" or "Я американец." Would it be Amerikanets? I think, "Ya Amerikanets." So be nice to me. I'm an American who speaks Russian. I don't know. I don't think my guess is the grammar isn't that different as my fear. That's my fear, because the grammar in Russian was so hard, and it's similar to the grammar in Greek. But at least in Greek, I was able to go to Greece for about 4 months and get a lot of the grammar down, which helped. I'm still tempted to start, but I would have to start Ukrainian from scratch. But like I said, I've got some Russian already that it's kind of it'd be nice to be able to just build, even though Russia, ugh, I mean, ugh. I'd only be learning it to go to you guys. Tis pistevis ότι θα γίνει με την Ελλάδα και την Τουρκία. I know. I've been following that here. She's asking, what do I think about what's going on between Greece and Turkey? We've been following it from here. I know. Turkey's been causing all sorts of problems with territorial disputes that go back decades, and raising a lot of hell, and basically Turkey's trying to cause problems, which is not good. Now that, I'm assuming, is good day. Dobrovo dня? Is oh my God, I can't even say that. Oh my God. Dnya? Is that for gin? I'm guessing that's the Ukrainian for gin. See, gin, you can pronounce dnya? Dnya, that's hard. Oh my God. Well, yeah, dobre gin, I know. I can say that. Realno? Or realna? Maybe, depending because I remember in Russian, like the O's would be Oz and that kind of stuff. Dobry gin, that I can say. And also, like you can say, was it Yakyu? I think for thank you, which almost sounds like thank you, which is funny. Dobro is good in Croatian as well. Yep. I don't mind learning Ukrainian. I would love to learn Ukrainian. It's just so hard to sort of get it down. You know what I mean? Now, are you here in the States, or where are you? Because I'm from Chicago, actually. Why do you have Chicago in there? Are you both? Oh, neat. Oh, wow. That's wild. Oh, that's very cool. Chicago and Kyiv. Wow, that's neat. That's funny. Chris has a question. Well, that's very cool. I don't know. I've got to see. I mean, I could still go back. The only thing is, if I go, I'm going to have to go and start from scratch. If I go on Duolingo in Ukrainian, because it's just too. I just have to start from scratch. Of course, the irony then is that my Russian would get some Ukrainian in it, which would be very funny for if I ever go to Russia again. Having, oh, that's Ukrainian, you know, and then telling the Russians that's the same thing. You'll all be speaking Ukrainian someday. Oh, that's very cool. I studied Russian for a year, so I don't know if I learned Russian, but I studied it for a year in college. But I always tell people, but I learned lots of exciting things like "Ya idu na pochtu." But no, actually, but my favorite I got to do was, oh, Joanna, I see that. Let me read a second. My favorite was when I was in the Soviet Union in 1984, and I was studying in France at the time. So I went with a French tour, but we were all Americans, which totally screwed up our Sputnik guide, because the guide is also kind of a spy. And the guide spoke French, but not really English. So it screwed her up that we were all these Americans who spoke to her in French, because we were all studying in France. And I was always late. And I just was always late getting to the bus. And it's one of the last days. And I didn't let her know that I knew some Russian, because I was like, why let her know? You know what I mean? I don't want why does the KGB need to know I speak Russian or spoke, a little Russian? So I go to get on the bus and I'm late again. And I'm the last person running to get on our bus. And the bus driver is this big, fat Russian, bus driver, workman, blue collar guy. And my guide is kind of sitting there looking at me like this, kind of going like this. And I looked at her and looked at the bus driver and I went, "Luche pozdno, чем никогда," because it's one of the only things I remembered in Russian that means better late than never. And the bus driver burst into hysterics, and she was not happy at all. Literally, she turned and she goes, "You speak Russian?" And I looked at her and I said, "Немного," like not much. It was fabulous because she was pissed, and it was like my moment at the end of the tour where I just kind of went like, dug the knife into the KGB lady. It was so much fun. But the driver loved me. He thought it was great. But I will say too, that's one of the nice things about learning. When you learn dialogues and things, they're actually helpful. We had to learn those stupid expressions, but it was actually a helpful expression. I got to use it. It was perfect. Oh, speaking Russian, please. Russia is talk about an empire. It's not even an empire anymore. Russia is so on the way out. Speaking Russian, you're not going to speak Russian unless you move to Russia. And even then, you'll probably speak English at some point. But no, Russia, forget it, please. Correct. The endings on the word were the worst. That was the worst. And our teacher at college was a Russian emigre who was just like a horrible. And I could not understand the declensions, and he was terrible about trying to educate me on it. Really terrible. But yeah, very hard. Oops, sorry, I was going to see. Okay, it's Joanna, what you were saying. Yeah, wait to be affiliated until you almost reach partner status, then become affiliated and soon after partnered, right? Because otherwise you need to do separate streaming, and not sure if this helps building your following on Twitch. Right. Works rather well, so why change it? Yeah, I think you're right. I'll do it this way. I mean, I don't know who knows whether things spread by word of mouth or however they spread on Twitch. Who knows, or maybe Twitch's algorithm sees more people watching and it shows it more to other people, or, so. Oh, you are so never coming back. So who knows? Yeah, Vladimir Zelensky runs for president of Russia. Exactly. Oof. All right, guys. All right, I'm going to sign off, guys. I've got to take the dog out and also have to fix a light on my balcony. I was pruning my plants and cut, of course, one of the lights that I have out there, which was brilliant of me. So I had to buy wire and I've got to fix it, and lots of fun. So I will see you guys tomorrow, same time. I can ask for beer in 6 languages, exactly. Same time tomorrow at 2 p.m. All righty? You only receive the Twitch checkmark when partnered. Interesting. Well, I think you're right, though. I think I'm going to wait and see if I get big enough to do the partnered and then do it in one fell swoop and then see if it's worth doing the separate streams or whatever. And we do it that way. All right. See you guys. Thank you all. Appreciate all the gifts and the super chats and super stickers and everything else and the questions and hanging out in general. That one guy didn't like that we were hanging out, but the rest of you looks good. And thank you, Chicago Pilot. You got to teach me more. Again, I'd say das vidanya. I have no idea what you people say. Yeah, at least teach me. So what do you say for goodbye? Yeah, kalovravi, avtotoxero. But how do you say, what would you say goodbye for Ukrainian? I'm guessing you don't say das vidanya because you've got to make everything difficult in Ukrainian. So what do you say? Just waiting for a response here. Although that's right, it takes a second for TikTok to catch up. Oh boy. Dobobachinya. Dobobachinya? Or Dobobachinya? Thank you for those, Linda. And thank you, exactly. Thank you, mods, and thank you, new mods. Don't get the old mods upset when they come back and wonder why you guys are mods. We'll let them know we needed some new blood because nobody was here. Not nobody, but we didn't have enough mods here. Emphasis on the A. Dobobachinya. Dobobachinya? Dopo. Oh, you say P. Yeah, Dobobachinya. Dobobachinya. Okay. Actually, write it in Cyrillic is often easier for me. Papa Urbovi? Papa Urbovi. Dopobachinya. Okay. I'm never going to remember that Dopobachinya. Dopobachinya. Okay. Dopobachinya. Dopobachinya. Okay, now you're all disagreeing. Ευχαριστούμε για την ενημέρωση. Ενημέρωση. That I don't know. What is ενημέρωση? I'll get my Google Translate out for that one. My new Greek word. I'm learning all my new words today. Ενημέρωση. Let's see. Information. Oh, ενημέρωση. Oh, that's interesting. I did not know that. Okay, that's a good word for me to know. Ενημέρωση. Yeah, παρακαλώ. We'll see that too. Like I know a lot more Greek than I know Ukrainian too, which is why it's so hard. All right, guys. Okay, I keep saying goodbye. All right, goodbye, you all. Tomorrow, 2 p.m. Eastern, same bat time, hanging up.